It is a distinct honor to be representing the St. Kitts Ministry of Tourism and to be delivering remarks on behalf of Minister Grant at the opening ceremony of the 2017 Climate Smart Sustainable Tourism Forum. Of course, Minister Grant sends his apologies and has asked me to convey his regrets for his unavoidable absence as he's away on government business. Let me warmly welcome each and every one of you to this most important event and extend an especially warm Kittitian welcome to our very beautiful island, to all of our forum delegates. I enthusiastically commend the governments and private interests represented here this evening for your catalytic role in spurring international thought leadership, cooperation, and action, not only on climate change, but on the critical range of interrelated sustainable development initiatives. I especially appreciate the partnerships that have made this event a reality. The leadership of the Ministry of Tourism, as well as the commitment of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Sustainable Destination Council, and Sustainable Travel International, was key to bringing this forum to fruition. This partnership serves as a shining example of the levels of collaboration with our regional and global partners that are necessary to advance the sustainable tourism agenda every day. This forum is especially timely this year, as the United Nations has declared 2017 the International Year of Sustainable Tourism. We are also right in the heart of the 10YFP Sustainable Tourism Program, which the Ministry of Tourism of St. Kitts is so ably co-leading to fundamentally improve consumption and production patterns in the tourism sector, to curb negative impacts and improve positive contributions of tourism for sustainable development. For many countries around the globe, particularly SIDS and the Caribbean, tourism is the main driver on which economies and livelihoods depend. This certainly is the case here in my country, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Following the closure of the sugar industry and the shift from monocrop agriculture in 2005, our national adaptation strategy has earmarked the tourism sector as the primary avenue through which we can transform and build a resilient economy. And we have been consistently putting mechanisms in place to do so in a responsible and sustainable manner. As we are all well aware, the travel and tourism industry is among the world's largest and most competitive industries. In 2015, for the fifth successive year, the growth of travel and tourism outpaced the global economy, generating US $7.2 trillion, nearly 10% of the entire global GDP. Travel and tourism supported 284 million jobs globally, which is the equivalent of 1 in 11 jobs in the world economy. In St. Kitts and Nevis, travel and tourism contributed US $213 million to our GDP in 2015 and 26.7% of total employment in our country. I think we will all agree that the economic benefits of this industry are unquestionable. Tourism has the power to truly transform economies and livelihoods for the better. Conversely, it can destroy cultures and communities. It is up to us then, individually and collectively, to manage it responsibly so we ensure the former and prevent the latter. We need not delude ourselves. We know that tourism activity, when not properly managed, feeds climate change. Despite what some skeptics may say, there is ample evidence that some tourism-related activity is inexorably linked to climate change. Tourism, therefore, must play an integral role in the global response to climate change. a charge which the St. Kitts Ministry of Tourism takes very seriously. Because of its transversal nature, tourism is unique in the number of lives and sectors it touches: agriculture, retail, manufacturing, construction, accommodation, attractions, and entertainment, transportation, and the list goes on. Our efforts globally to fundamentally reduce the environmental footprint of the diverse activities that make up tourism will help us alleviate climate change. But we must work together across economic sectors and across national and regional boundaries. Our responses to climate change and sea level rise must be coordinated with and integrated into existing policies of socioeconomic development and environmental conservation, so we can facilitate both sustainable development and sustainable tourism. As small island developing states, we all know climate change poses a real threat to our growth and development. We are especially vulnerable to climate-related hazards and impacts on our fragile ecosystems that are often associated with poor land development and management, coastal erosion, and sea level rise. In St. Kitts and Nevis, we are vulnerable at both extremes. We have been experiencing drought conditions since 2015 for the first time in 50 years. We are also located in a fragile hurricane zone, and we were reminded of this recently with the passage of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. And so we're in this zone which is inherently prone to natural disasters, now exacerbated by climate change. In fact, detailed climate modeling projections for St. Kitts and Nevis have predicted A, an increase in our average atmospheric temperature, B, reduced average annual rainfall, C, increased sea surface temperatures, and D, the potential for increased frequency and intensity of tropical storms. These all pose a serious threat to the development gains we are trying hard to build and capitalize on, be it in public health, housing, agriculture, tourism, and more. Already, the coastline of our prime beaches and bays are affected by sea level rise. About 3 years ago, the beach at the Strip, one of our popular tourism spots, had to be replenished, costing the country millions. And in a matter of 2 years, we are once again experiencing serious depletion at that beach and others nearby. Additionally, our coral reef and biodiversity are being adversely affected, hampering our tourism product and ocean health at large. Due to the severe drought since 2015, we have had to introduce water rationing, have suspended sales of water to cruise ships, and have seen a drop in agricultural yield. These are just a few of the main challenges being experienced in St. Kitts. Added to that, we are always just one storm away from damage to critical infrastructure. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis is pursuing a dual approach to cross-sector development by 1, building resilience and security into our existing infrastructure and sector activities, and 2, implementing fundamental systemic change in our institutions and approaches to traditional activities such as tourism and agriculture. At the Ministry of Tourism specifically, we have embarked upon a decidedly pro-people and pro-planet approach to tourism, which we are convinced will help to build awareness and grow a more sustainable tourism product. Our mission statement promises to provide a consistently outstanding visitor experience through the sustainable development of the human, natural, and cultural resources of St. Kitts in order to maximize opportunity, prosperity, and quality of life for the present and future generations of all citizens. To this end, we have adopted a number of climate mitigation and adaptation initiatives nationally and continue to work with regional counterparts to help reduce the effects of climate change. Due to hard lessons learned from the destruction associated with Hurricanes Lenny, Louis, and George, sea defense works have been built to protect the coastline at critical flood risk points. The government and stakeholders are piloting and achieving success with innovative water conservation, capture, and conversion technologies. And we are participating in a host of regional initiatives to reduce risk and increase resilience through civil works, capacity building, and institutional development activities. In addition to concerted efforts to mitigate and adapt to climate impacts, individual sectors are beginning to do their part to reduce their energy footprint. Public and private sector stakeholders are taking measures for energy efficiency and renewable energy, notably solar power on St. Kitts, and the beginnings of a revolutionary geothermal energy project on Nevis. But what I would like to especially focus on this evening is our response to the inexorable link between tourism activity and climate change. As a nation and as a member of the SIDS community, we are investing considerable resources to the sustainable tourism movement and to changing the way tourism is perceived and practiced globally, regionally, and at home. The government of St. Kitts Nevis and generally, the government of St. Kitts Nevis generally, and the Ministry of Tourism specifically, take immense pride in our relationship with Sustainable Travel International, STI. This partnership was established in 2012 and has realized a number of notable achievements for my ministry and country on our sustainability journey. Among them are the following. St. Kitts is one of the first destinations to ever undergo a Destination Sustainability Assessment, applying the Global Sustainable Tourism Council's GSTC's criteria for destinations. Since then, we have been on a targeted path to put into place the necessary building blocks to institutionalize sustainable development of tourism in our destination. In fact, this pioneering partnership has led to St. Kitts being accepted as a founding member of the Sustainable Destination Alliance of the Americas, SDA. Over the past 4 years, we have trained nearly 100 destination management stakeholders from the public and private sectors as destination guardians and stewards of sustainable tourism. We have developed a monitoring and evaluation system to track the sustainability of destination management and guide informed policy decision making. We have developed and launched the Heart of St. Kitts Foundation and the associated Sustainability Charter to build awareness of tourism best practices and promote responsible energy use and waste management within the tourism sector and by the public at large. We met the first recommendation of the GSTC in 2013 by forming the SDC, the Sustainable Destination Council, and instituting a DMO, Destination Management Organization. We are proud to say that St. Kitts is one of the pioneering destinations in the world following this model of cross-sector collaboration that is absolutely necessary to truly address climate impacts, advance the sustainable development of the tourism industry, and maximize local benefits. The SDC's strategic plan through 2017 and beyond is to 1. Support the Water is Life campaign to build awareness of the ongoing water shortage and promote water conservation. 2. Promote and encourage waste management and recycling activities that address the root cause of littering and illegal dumping, which affect terrestrial and marine life and elicit a shared sense of environmental stewardship throughout the island. 3. Engage communities in reforestation initiatives to improve air quality and mitigate the effects of future storms. And 4. To improve coordination of and enlist additional buy-in from public sector agencies and tourism-related enterprises on sustainability initiatives. At the ministry, we are on a mission to spread a message of holistic sustainability and sustainable tourism in action from an economic, social, cultural, and environmental perspective. So, a number of our tourism initiatives are grassroots programs targeting our youth and learning institutions. We have employed a community tourism officer who sensitizes and mobilizes communities to implement self-help environmental and cultural heritage projects within their own communities and across the island. I am deeply conscious, however, that even our best intentions and a complete reversal of questionable practices by SIDS will not be enough to halt climate change and its devastating effects on our destinations. The sad reality is that as SIDS, we are caught up in a phenomenon for which we are among the least responsible, but are likely to suffer most from its adverse effects, in extreme cases, even becoming uninhabitable. I do not wish to appear cynical or pessimistic, but this is a grave situation which demands that I be frank, practical, and real. Our very existence, the viability of our economies, and safeguarding the lives and livelihoods of citizens from vulnerable states such as ours, therefore, demand a global response to climate change. This must be our imperative. If we are to truly curb and protect our islands from devastating climate impacts, we cannot do what we have always done. Tourism cannot be organized as it has always been organized. We must fundamentally change the way we manage tourism. As a global community, we must continue to explore climate mitigation, adaptation, and resilience programs that will protect our valuable resources from disaster for the future. Our destination communities, SIDS and others, must work together to strike that balance that will allow us to develop economically and environmentally and reap the benefits of our investments. We must demonstrate the collective will and resolve to carefully examine how we as destinations do business with our private and public sector partners and make sure that every transaction, every decision we make contains the safeguards we need to protect our natural, cultural, social, and economic interests and links our local producers much more meaningfully into the tourism value chain. This not only reduces our environmental footprint, but also necessarily contributes to our food security and to people's livelihoods. As a small island developing state, we must choose our investment partners wisely, obtain real commitments like we have never before from investor and developer partners, and above all, we must work together not just on project implementation, but on big picture strategy and regional integration to change the game of tourism for the future. For too long, our destination communities and our natural resources have been perilously on the losing side of the equation. We need to fortify our structures for cooperation to systematically take back control of our own destiny. Forums like the one planned for the next 2 to 3 days are critical to this strategic thought leadership and action. Our collective voices must continue to sound the clarion call and make urgent appeals for action, for intervention, and for informed decision-making from both victim of and contributor to climate change and sea level rise. The urgency of this matter dictates that in the short term, we must institute mechanisms for even greater awareness building and for holding each other accountable. I look forward to the next 3 days of identifying effective ways of working together to achieve big goals so we can harness the movement of sustainable tourism once and for all to truly effect meaningful and lasting change for our people, for our climate, for our planet. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your kind attention, and I want to invite us all to enjoy the Kittitian treats that we have prepared for you. Make new friends and renew old friendships. Enjoy St. Kitts. Welcome again, and do continue to enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.